Alright, here we are again, back with another model build-up. Star Trek, of course, and this time we're doing the USS Enterprise Command Bridge. This is an old kit that I'm sure everybody remembers. It's still out there fairly cheap on eBay. I think I picked this one up for about 10 bucks a couple years ago. They're 10, 20 bucks, you should be able to find one. I'm not really concerned too much about the condition or the box or anything like that as far as collecting. Just wanted to have this around, so when I decided to build it I could. Now, I've always wanted to build one of these and light it. I've got one on display in my collection here that I built probably 20 years ago, and it turned out okay. But I always want to light this whole thing, and thought how neat that would look. So the cool part now is that you have a company out there that's making um, these replacement decals, which are actually made to be backlit. You get the company, by the way, is Outerspace Outfitters. I picked this up off of eBay, specifically designed for the bridge kit, and you get a lot more decals than what you got with the original, and you've got quite a few options as far as the view screen and much improved graphics, much more correct for the original bridge set used on the show. I'll show you the difference here. Uh, of course, this is just your standard bridge kit, 25th anniversary, made by Ertl, I think released around 91 or so. Uh, and I'm sure a lot of Trek guys have built these already. What I've already gone ahead and done here is started cutting out some of the panels, and this is pretty tedious work. The technique that I used to do this was I used a very small drill bit on a Dremel tool and just went around and made a series of drill holes all the way through these and tried to stay close to the edges but allow myself a little bit of room in case I fudged up or whatever, and didn't want to go through the edges. And once I made all those holes, I just kind of went in with a little bit larger size bit and just kind of used it as a grinder and just went around and hit each hole just till I popped each plate out. And then what I had left for rough edges there, I basically went in, this is one that I've got finished up, but I hope you can see it. I just went in basically with a flat file and a round file to make these nice rounded edges on these, and then the nice square edges on these, and just filed it all down until it got rid of all the little rough stuff in there and made the nice shape. And as you can see, it's going to take a little bit of time to do each one of these. Now this particular one I'm only going to build just the half of the bridge. I've seen ones that the entire bridge was built, but I'm just going to be doing the half like the original model is, and going to be lighting it, of course. And I can probably show you here like a little example of just kind of how this is going to look. Now again, as I said, these are meant to be backlit. I can kind of place one in here, and they do line up really nice. They are designed to be used on this particular kit. And if I can get my little flashlight going here, okay, you can kind of see that with lighting they're really dynamic, and they're much improved over than just lighting a regular decal. I mean, the black edges they remain dark, and the colored areas light up really nice and even. And they're, as far as I can tell, I mean, not being an expert, but they look pretty authentic to the exact ones that were used on the show. I'm actually going to have to go in and look and see, I guess, now to see where each one is supposed to be, so I don't get killed on that. But again, you get a complete set, down to even your astronavigator screen for the helm, your red alerts. These panels, I believe, mount next to the viewing screen on one of the panels. The viewing screen itself, I've already kind of cut the center of it out, and I plan on probably just paint detailing in a lot of these, the little lighting effect that goes across, but I'll probably illuminate one of them with a little bit of fiber optic or something there. But you can kind of get an idea. You've got, like I said, quite a few choices on your viewing screens that you might want to use. I'll probably, of course, it's one of my favorites. I'll probably either do the Constellation or the. Or I might even rig something up on the back of here where I can switch them if I want to. Little tray, they just kind of sit in with a light behind it, and it'll light it up really nice. Now, what I plan on doing with this is over on YouTube, a fellow by the name of Model Man Tom. He has a lot of tips and tricks and how-tos, and he's been doing this for years. And good modeler himself, and he's now decided to start carrying a supply of lighting stuff for model kits. So I plan on using. He's got a new product out there. It's called LED tape, and you basically get an LED. I think they come 3 per inch, and they're like on a strip, and they'll be perfect for a project like this, since you'll be laying them in right in behind here. Maybe 1 or 2 up on top. Some of the build will require single LEDs, the old style LEDs, such as get it out of here. The command chair itself, you can get those panels, which I'll have to carefully cut these out and lay them on there. The LED, I'm thinking probably go 1 on each side. I may do 1 in the center and do some foil or something, see if it will reflect good enough to illuminate them properly. But it might, the tape won't work in all areas, but it'll be absolutely perfect for doing other areas, and just sounds like a really good, new, exciting product to try. Looking forward to that. And again, this is a tedious process. This is one of the more rough-looking ones. I don't know if you can see it fairly well or not. It's still very rough, but again, it cleans up pretty easy with a file, and just take your time. Try not to, force it and go over any of your edges. And it's going to be a nice little project, time-consuming. I have to sit down and figure out how many lights I'm going to need, and I also came to the conclusion that I'm probably going to have to build this up on some type of a base, since I plan on running some of the wiring underneath and up into the model, and also tinkering around with some sound ideas. I've come across a fairly affordable sound chip that's able to be recorded upon, so considering doing the a loop type playback of the sounds from the bridge, the annoying beeps and buzzes repeating over and over to go along with the lights. It'll be a nice little effect. Anyway, that's where we are on this one so far. If you're thinking about building up one of these like this, I highly recommend you check out Outerspace Outfitters. I believe he's got listings on eBay for some stuff, and very pleased with the quality of that set. Around 20 bucks, well worth it, and it's really going to make a nice difference on this model once it's all done. Really spruce it up and put some lights. Always bring life to models is my motto. So anyway, follow along as we get further on this. I just wanted to give you a quick of where we're at, and the next video will have it a little bit built up a little further, maybe start some paint detail and have a little bit more of the wiring figure out. I'll see you then. Alright, so here we are with an update of our AMT Star Trek Command Bridge buildup. We've made some pretty good progress. I've got some of the I've got one of the panels mocked up here. This week I received my LED double density LED lights from Model Man Tom through Modeler's brand Hobby Supplies, and I gotta say I'm really pleased with these lights. This is the warm white version of the lights. As you can see here, you get these can be cut down to individual segments of 3. You got a connector there on each one, so you can solder, or you can just go ahead and run the whole strip. These have built-in resistors, so they go straight to power. Now on this particular setup here, these lights are designed to run between 6 and 12 volts DC off of a power supply. And doing my testing here, I found out that running them in at 6 volts, they were very, very dim, not bright enough at all to light up the back panels. At 7.5, they were a little bit better. At 9, they were a little too bright. So I wound up installing a 30 ohm resistor in between the power and the lights. And as you can see here on the back, what I've done is I've made some brackets basically out of styrene and attached them to the rear of the panels here, and had a place to mount my lights to. I've got one continuous strip going across on the smaller readout panels, and 3 lights per screen on the top panels. Down below here for the actual keyboard, I guess if you want to call it, controls, I'm just reflecting light. It's kind of hard to see in here now, but I've got some silver reflective tape kind of stuff down in there on top of the brackets, and what that does is bounces the light off of the bottom row of lights back up into these control panels, and overall lights up very nice. I'll go ahead and plug it in for you here so you can get a look. And as you can see, I mean, once this panel is painted and detailed, it's just about like you're standing on the Enterprise bridge. I mean, it's really fantastic. I'm extremely pleased with both the lights and the these backlit panels from Outerspace Outfitters. Let me dim the light down here just a little bit more, and you can get a better idea of how much illumination this thing puts out. And again, if you get close, you can see the individual panels here. Very accurate. All the little toggle switches and everything are lit up. So going around this entire bridge, and once it's all finished out here, this is really going to be fantastic. And as I said, I've still got more paint detail to do. I'm basically working on assembling the base now, and I've ordered a sound unit for this model from Cult TV Man's site, which will give you the looping bridge playback sounds and some red alert sounds, maybe a few others. These panels down here, I don't think I'm going to illuminate those. I think I'm going to either use the supplied decals in the kit or come up with some kind of a fabbed. Those were kind of a screen type thing that was made to be open so they could get underneath there to service the equipment, but I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do with those yet. But right now the rest of the model is basically being put together, the base, painting all the handrails, I'm going to do a little technique to try to simulate the brown carpet on the bridge. And then I've got to go in and work out where my other LEDs are going to light as far as the captain's chair, the helm, some other areas, and the viewing screen. But this first panel is very encouraging, and again, once the paint detail's all on there, it should really look good. I'll be back again in the near future with an update. See you then. Welcome, modelers. Today we're out in the paint shop, and today we're going to go over how I go about painting some of these parts. These are our bridge parts all ready to go. Got all the brackets installed for our lighting, built up with styrene. And these are a couple of the products that I like to use, especially on a part like this where I know after I put down a base of primer and add my colors, I'm going to be doing a lot of tape work in here to get these different colors. We've got black on the bottom, gray here, gray on top, a little bit of darker gray inset, and then some lighter blue action going on in here. So there's going to be a lot of taping involved, and we don't want to peel our paint off after we spray it, which happens a lot. What I've already done to these pieces is I've cleaned them up and sanded them with some 600 grit paper here. That gives us a good bond for our paint. And I've also gone ahead and used some of this Silicone of Wax Remover. It's a product that's usually used for automotive type work. Body shops use it. And I have some on the rag here. I've gone over these parts and I'll just show you here. It's a good product because it doesn't attack plastic in any way, shape, or form, such as acetone or some other types of solvents might do. And it removes any of the oil or any fingerprints, anything that could have gotten stuck on this that paint's not going to like. And so we just give them a good wipe down with that after we've finished with our sanding. And the part is basically ready to go. One thing I do, I'm using some, this happens to be TranStar brand, but this is an automotive based primer. It's a high build, what they call a high build primer in gray. I mean, I use the color based on what my overall colors are going to be close to. Darker colors I'll tend to go with like the darker oxide red, or depending on the situation. And this stuff dries really quick. It sands very evenly and easily. It acts as a filler for minor imperfections in the plastic. It works really great. I do this in combination with my little heating gun here. As I apply thin coats of primer, I like to dry it right away so we don't get any possibility of too much buildup or running or things like that. And then I can go to work and start sanding it, usually within minutes, by using that technique. And last but not least, here I have a product from DuPont. This is also available in other brands. It's called Plastic. It's also kind of used more in the automotive industry. They use it for getting paint to adhere to plastic surfaces, which we have a lot of on cars today. And I'll spray a light coat of this on my part before I'll apply any type of a finish, even my primer. This gives a really good adhesion. I like this particular brand because it sprays on nice and smooth, and it doesn't leave any type of texturing going on the finish that you've got to worry about sanding out later if you didn't want that. So that'll be what I'll be putting on here first. And just a second or so here, we'll get ready to spray. Okay, we're all set and ready to spray. I'm going to start off by giving these parts a light dusting of this plastic product, so we make sure we get our good paint adhesion. Pretty much ready to go here. Not too worried about the sides of these pieces because I actually want to leave some areas not too heavily covered with paint for when we have to glue these parts together. Paint tends to interfere with good bond on your glue, as I'm sure most of you know. And again, I'm just giving these a real light dusting. That's about all we need. Call me a stickler, but pretty much on every application of anything I spray on parts, I like to come in with my little heat gun here. And I can see that this stuff is almost drying instantly. Okay, I did mention that I did use a tack rag. This little item right here before I started off with this spraying. I guess I didn't show you that part. Looks like kind of a dirty old rag, but it's a rag that's actually designed to pick up dust and pieces of debris. It's ingrained with kind of a waxy type texture that stays kind of semi-sticky over time. This one's just about on its last legs, but it's still working pretty good. That pulled up all the debris and dust off the stuff. What we want to do here is after we finish drying these is take a quick look and see if anything did get stuck in our finish. Now is the time to go over it again with the tack rag and most cases it'll pull that stuff right out of there, and you're good for your next coat. Right, these are dried up. Just have a quick look here. A little piece on the edge there. Looks great. Yeah, we're looking good here. Again, that's just a product that it's not absolutely necessary, but it's something that I've found over the years that helps a ton, as I mentioned, on if you have to do a lot of tape work on your parts to avoid that dreaded pulling that stuff up. I'm sure we're all used to going back and having to retouch up plenty of things that's happened on. And so we're going to the next step here. We've got our gray high build primer ready to go. Already shaken the can up real good, and we're going to start applying coats of this primer. And I'll be doing this while using the heat gun at the same time here. Test spot. Looking good. Okay. Just lay this stuff on real nice and even. No need for any kind of a huge buildup right at the start. Just get one nice covering coat on there, and again, like I said, not worried about the sides too much. Got to hit the tops of the countertop should appear a little bit better. Yeah, this primer is pretty much dried already. I could literally start to sand on it already. This is some good stuff. Okay, when you start laying your primer down, you'll start seeing little areas of what I call plastic fuzz on some of the cutout areas here we've worked on. Just a little bit of light sanding will take care of that. Okay, now these are pretty much first coat dry. I'm going to come back and lay another light coat down. And we're going to hit those countertops a little better. Okay. The primer is laying down like really nice and smooth. Like I said, the plastic product by DuPont. I think one of the other ones is called Bulldog or something like that. But I've used both, and the plastic is much better as far as not leaving any texture on the surface. So this primer is laying down really nice and smooth. And these are already dry, completely dry. You could literally sand these now. And I've got a 3-coat rule here, so I'm going to finish drying these up a little bit more. Put one more top coat on. There you go. Looking good. The sanding I did on these turned out pretty good. Got a couple little nicks here and there from the filing, but nothing that's going to really show up once the model's all painted out. I'm not worried too much about painting the back sides of these panels at this time either. I've got a lot of work to do back here with my lighting. I've built brackets for bringing the lighting in on the bottom to light up these grills, and of course the lighting across the small display screens and the individual lighting segments for each large monitor screen. And so there we have it. We're getting a little further down the road here. Just thought I'd go over a little painting stuff that I've learned over the years, and that's really helped me out again, especially with the taping stuff you're going to have to do on these parts. In the next segment I'll be going over that, starting to add color on these things, and still working on the exact colors I'm going to use. It's going to be probably some type of an off-white to light gray on the upper areas, and of course black on the countertops, and these inset panels, there's a type of a light blue going on there that I've got to work out. Anyway, I hope to see you then.